Well, hello everyone. This is Dr. Mike Chu of Physical Therapist. Hey, today we've got a special guest, but we'll be back in a few seconds, okay? All right, we are back. Well, before I keep on going, we got a special guest, but before we keep on going, if you need continuing education units, check out medbridgeeducation.com. And of course, next week, I'll be speaking at the APTA, American Physical Therapy Association in California. It's our combined section meeting, so check that out. I'm gonna be personally teaching the maintenance therapy, where we provide physical therapy services as a maintenance services for our patients. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring in Miss Callista Joyce. Boom, she's right here, right beside me, right?
Good
Miss
morning.
Callista, could you
Yes.
please tell us again who you are, what do you do, and what is Home Instead?
Okay, I'm Callista Joyce.
Mhm.
I do partnership development at Home Instead. Home Instead is an in-home non-medical company.
Non-medical.
Okay,
Okay.
non-medical. So what we do is provide care in the home for aging loved ones who want to stay in their home rather than when they need assisted living.
Mm.
We can go in, do meal prep. We can help with get them to appointments.
Mhm.
We can do bathing, non-medical things like that.
Non-medical.
Yes, medication reminders. A lot of times, this time of year especially, our calls for service go up because loved ones have come home
Yeah.
and they have noticed changes in their senior parents. Bills are piling up. Maybe their home is untidy, and you're like, Mom and Dad, there's something, they may need some extra eyes on Mom and Dad. So that's
so true.
when we go in. Also, we do quite frequently, someone has a fall. As you well know, they're coming in for therapy. They need help getting dressed. It's the simple things that they need help with if they've had a fall.
Yeah, let's go back to what you talk about. The stuff that you're seeing with your patients or your loved ones if you're watching.
Yes.
So especially nowadays, it's winter, it's cold. They don't want to go out. They don't want to drink because they're cold,
Right.
And then they get dehydrated. When they start getting dehydrated, well, guess what? They start falling.
Yes.
Another thing is that they're not going out. There's no sun. There's no sunshine.
Right.
You need that vitamin. You need that vitamin to get you better and stronger. There's what you call the seasonal affective disorders, the SAD.
Right.
Well, people get sad and they're still in the home.
Yeah.
And they forget, and not because they have dementia or Alzheimer's, but just because their body is just slowing down. And we
Right.
have what you call the sundowning. Towards the end of the day, they get tired. Even me, it's just what time is it? It's morning. I'm tired already,
Yeah.
And what more for our loved ones who are seniors and not actively moving. And this is
Right.
where Home Instead comes in. They're there to assist and help non-medically. Of course, we're the medical part.
Right.
But they're the non-medical part that will come in and remind mom, remind dad, hey, have you taken your medication? Meal prep. That's another thing that you guys do, right?
Right.
And then, of course, taking them to and from their doctor's appointment.
Right.
And it's very important that you have some support system like that.
Right.
So, Miss Callista, could you please tell us first, what are the services? You're talking about the meal prep, medication reminder. You're not administering, right?
Right. That's
You're
correct.
reminding the client, hey, don't forget to take your medication.
Right.
Taking them to the doctor's appointment. All right.
Taking them to your therapy.
Therapy, yeah.
Yes.
So we
Yes.
need that. So.
Yes.
What else?
We do a lot of things with specialized care. This
Mm.
would be all of our caregivers are trained specially to work with patients that have Alzheimer's, that have dementia, Parkinson's. They have specialized training to help in the home, even with meal. If you have Parkinson's and you're not able to assist yourself, it's hard to get your meals.
Let me
down.
ask you that. Who trains your caregiver? Because I train people
Yes,
how to do
yes,
this,
Yes.
So who does your training?
We have different people come in. We work we're carefully with the Alzheimer's Tennessee, those type. We work with those type of training, but we would love to have you come in and do training. We'd like to partnership. That's another thing. That's my job is partnership with agencies to how we can all serve seniors better.
That's true. It's not about competition. It's about collaboration.
It's collaborating.
So now we've figured out, you're providing the services, taking care of your loved ones to and from the doctor's appointment,
Yes.
ADLs, feeding, grooming, and everything like that.
Yeah.
how do we get your services? Does insurance pay for this?
Okay,
Mhm.
with our
Out of
services,
pocket,
it
yeah.
is long-term care.
Long-term
Would be
care.
long-term care policies. Also, for those that are veterans, there are
Mhm.
veterans benefits.
Mhm.
We, some of our patients are private pay.
Mhm.
A lot of times, someone is in a assisted living facility. They've
Mhm.
got their room, and part of being able to keep your room in assisted living is being able to feed yourself, dress yourself, bathe yourself.
That's true.
So
Mhm.
you have a rotator cuff,
Mhm.
shoulder, you can't get yourself dressed.
It's
So
true.
we have to, a lot of times we'll go into that
Mhm.
situation and help
Mhm.
them get dressed.
Good,
But it
good,
is,
good.
primarily long-term care and veterans benefits. But the main thing is it is less expensive to keep them in home
Mhm.
than it is for a facility. It's always less expensive. Plus, we want to be in our home.
You know what I keep on saying? I preach on that because for those people who are watching live, comment live, watching on the replay, comment
Yeah.
replay. I always preach on this. They talk about the co-pays and of course their deductibles when it comes to Medicare. And I would always say, hey, would you rather pay $20, $10, whatever co-pay for your therapy or a much more expensive one when you go to the hospital? And Medicare really advocates this, that we physical therapists provide PT and OT under the maintenance program. Why? Because it will cost Medicare or the insurance less if they do their therapy. First, the patient gets healthier and stronger. They
Right.
prevent falls, and then it costs them less to provide the PT and OT versus going to the hospital. And same thing with you. If you are a son or a daughter who's taking care of your loved ones, it will cost you lesser to get their services than actually take them to the assisted living or the nursing home or worse in a long-term care
Right. Facility.
situation facility. And then you lose all this, you have to sell the house, and stuff like that. It's so hard.
Yeah.
So you might as well keep your loved ones stronger in the home by doing physical and occupational therapy, and then get this caregiving services so you can keep mom in the home.
Right.
And that's the goal. We call it I forgot what you call it. Aging in place.
Aging in place.
That's what we
and
call it.
prevention.
Yeah,
Prevention.
the prevention is the key. So any last parting wisdom for the people who are watching? How can they reach you?
Yes.
Do you have an email? I know we're showing.
We
up
do.
there right now.
We show that. It's homeinsteadjackson.com.
Mhm.
We have a wonderful website. We actually have a nurse that will come out to your home and take a look at your home, talk about services. They will walk in. What's the first thing, that they walk into a home? There's rugs. He's eyes and ears in the home place to see what are some hazards.
Are you part of the guide program?
I'm not sure.
Not sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But it's eyes and ears in the home, and then to sit down, with them to say, hey, how can we help you age in place? I love that. But how can we help you stay safe in the home you love?
Very good. I like that. I like that there's an actual nurse,
Yes.
a skilled nurse or a skilled therapist to do a home assessment on you, because you being the daughter or the son,
Right.
seeing your mom and dad, you grew up in that home and you're like so used to that place, and you don't see that, this rug here is actually a fall risk, or this positioning of this bed here is not the best. You need to have someone, another set of eyes to really see, hey, this is high risk fall. If you're going to look at my office here right now, it's a high risk for fall. But you know what I mean? So it's very important that you have that another set of eyes. Okay.
Yeah.
Of course, they'll say it in a nice way. They'll say it in a decent, in a very respectful way, and they're going to say, okay, I think Mrs. Smith, let's just say Mrs. Smith, let's just say Mrs. Smith, that this rug here, and the patient will be saying, oh, the rug has been there forever, or even, the simple adjustment of putting a tape underneath that rug.
Right.
So making sure that rug is in place and stuff like that, making sure getting a grab bar,
exactly,
that is appropriate to your, if you get a nice bathroom, ours don't, you got a nice bathroom, put some sort of a decoration there, even the walker itself. If the patient is in denial to use a walker, maybe kind of, make it, put some ribbon on it and stuff like that. And this is where they come in.
Right.
Miss Calista, go ahead. You were going to say something?
I was going to say bathtub. Stepping into the bathtub, just strips
Yeah.
from Dollar General could
Dollar
save
General, yeah.
someone,
You know,
a fall.
yeah, it doesn't have to be a
It
whole
doesn't have to
bathroom
be.
renovation.
No,
So,
it's simple things. Things. This time of year too, UTIs.
oh, that's
UTIs
true.
with elderly people, just getting them in the habit of eating meals on time, drinking, that type can save you so much health in the long run, rather than them ending up dehydrated with a UTI.
That's
we
true.
all know
It's
what
good
happens.
that you mentioned that,
Yeah.
because again, like what I say, when you get older, there's a part in your brain called your hypothalamus. Hypothalamus is in charge of your thirst and hunger. And as you get older, that thirst and hunger mechanism is kind of decreased. It's like a thermostat in your body.
Right.
And I mean, it's like how much? It's almost lunchtime. I haven't drank my water. I'm drinking my coffee. You probably saw me. And what more for elderly? They will forget how to drink.
Yeah.
They'll forget how to eat, and they're going to be dehydrated. When they get dehydrated, guess what? There's not enough fluid in your body.
Right.
Imagine if you're taking diuretic, you're taking blood pressure pill, and you're already dehydrating yourself, and you're not drinking water. Guess what? You get UTI. All right. Well, guess what? Same thing with this. Your brain floats on water. You know that, right? Your brain floats on the fluid. Your CSF, cerebrospinal fluid. And if you don't have enough fluid in your body, even in your brain is like a sponge. You put that sponge. Let's just say this is a sponge. You put this sponge here and let it air dry. What happens? The sponge shrinks. Guess what? Same thing with the brain. And if your brain doesn't have enough fluid, guess what? You get dehydrated. You get dementia. You get confused. That's why UTI is very bad. Well, same thing with the muscle. If you don't have enough fluid in your muscle, guess what? Your muscle has fluid, right? And you get cramps. That's why you get cramps. That's why they give you fluids. All right. Again, where can they find you, Miss Callista? I know you already mentioned
homeinstead.com on the website. Our phone number is 731-984-7062. And we will come out and do an assessment in the home.
Cool.
And one quick other thing I want to point out: what's the difference in private caregivers and an agency?
I was going to ask you that, so go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. One of the biggest difference, this ice out here. Guess what? Your private caregiver will say, "Oh, I'm so sorry for the ice. I can't get there." We were running our caregivers at 9, 10, midnight. We were running shuttles. We made sure our folks that needed the care, their caregiver was there. If caregivers get sick, you have someone who's been taking care of your family. We have we are responsible for getting your caregiver there.
You need to have some coverage there. So it's okay, you can get your own private caregiver, but the real problem now is the reliability of that, private caregiving, one-on-one person. Like what you said, if they're sick, there's nobody going to cover. Unlike with them, they already have a team of people who are on standby mode, not really standby, but somebody can cover someone. So it's very important that you have that. Again, thank you very much, Callista. Appreciate you. Anything else that you want to add?
No, we appreciate the services you do.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate you too for all your referrals. Again, thank you very much. We appreciate you. But before we let you go, always remember the word FAST, F-A-S-T, letter F. Find people that will bring out the best in you, because you are the average of the 5 people you hang with. Next letter is letter A, take action. All this stuff that we're doing is not going to do me good. It's not even going to do them good if you don't take action. Take action. Go to their website. Call them. Hey, is this really for mom? Is this really for me? Will the VA benefits or long-term care insurance will pay for it? Take action. Talk to them. They can probably find some resources. Next letter is letter S, share and subscribe. The more shares, the better. It sounds cheesy, but it is. And last but not least, letter T is letter T. You teach it. Why? Because when you hear it, you forget. When you see it, you remember. But when you're actually teaching it, you're actually understanding it more. And that's what Callista and her team is going to do. They're going to teach you how to take care of your mom and your father age in place. Again, thank you very much. Be awesome. Be great. Be excellent. We'll see you in the next episode of our Geriab Show.
HelloNote is a truly therapist-friendly practice management solution with integrated EMR that will enhance workflow efficiency.